Out of that last batch, we had 3 new cases, so the numbers are still continuing to be just a handful, which is a positive sign. But as we're lifting restrictions in May and as we look forward to lifting further restrictions beyond the ones that we've announced, we need to make sure there are more people getting tested so that we can control the virus, control the spread, and ensure that the vast majority of the community stay well away from this virus. I also want to thank everybody for the way in which the community's come together during this time, and I'm looking forward to schools starting to go back next week, looking forward to more retail shops opening, and I've sensed already that our figures tell us there's increased activity, more people are choosing to work at their workplace, and so we will see during May an increased level of activity, but that means that more of us have to come forward and get tested, even if you have the slightest symptoms. And of course, if you happen to be working in industries where you're seeing people all the time, you're in contact with members of the public, of course you need to practice social distancing, but you also have to be extra vigilant if you have any of those symptoms and make sure you come forward and get tested. As I've been saying, during the time in April when the restrictions were in place, we made sure that we upscaled the health system to make sure that we could cater with any additional cases, especially as we go through the winter months and especially as we increase the level of testing and especially as the restrictions are starting to ease. We know that whenever there's greater activity, there's a likelihood of more cases, which is fine so long as you can manage them and so long as the health system can manage them. So I'm pleased to say that about a month ago we did a call to arms asking businesses to come forward and support the New South Wales government, not just in providing supply chain, but perhaps retooling and providing some of those vital medical supplies. I'm very pleased today to have with me Minister Ayres, who's the Minister for Jobs and Investment, who's been in charge of supporting our government's efforts in retooling, and also the Minister for Health, Brad Hazzard. But now I'm pleased to say in New South Wales we have 2 companies that are developing prototypes for ventilators. As we know, ventilators are in short supply around the world. We do have some orders in at a state level, which we're hoping to receive in the next few months. But beyond that, we're confident that one or both of these prototypes, one which is being developed by the University of Sydney and the other one being developed by a company in Newcastle called Amp Control, we're confident that one or both of those prototypes will actually result in us being able to manufacture ventilators, not just in Australia, but here in New South Wales, which is fantastic news. And in due course, this is one of the industries which I think will continue to provide those vital supply chains beyond the COVID pandemic. So this is another example of New South Wales developing manufacturing in a highly demanded piece of equipment that will save lives. And also, I do like the fact that beyond a certain point in time, we'll be able to rely on our own local high expertise, our own local manufacturing supply chains to be able to provide these ventilators, which is fantastic news. And Minister Ayres will explain that further. But this is really exciting news for New South Wales and for Australia, and we hope to be in a position where, when we have sufficient for our own supplies here in the state, that we can support other states and other countries in their supply chains of these must-have ventilators. So again, thank you to the community for your support. Thank you for the way in which we've stood together. I'm looking forward to all of us having that increased level of freedom and increased activity in May. And I will foreshadow, especially given National Cabinet's meeting today, that there are a whole range of other restrictions National Cabinet will be considering, which will come to effect in due course. But we want to make sure we do things at the right time. As I say consistently, the strategy in New South Wales is to never have to go backwards. I don't want to do what other countries have done, where they open and shut, lockdown, not lockdown. We want to make sure that every step we take is a step forward and not a step backwards. And that's why we're doing things in a particular way, making sure that as we ease restrictions, we can manage the number of extra cases that come on board as a result.